So I've never got a platinum on a LEGO game, and until now the only LEGO game I ever played was LEGO Batman 3 on the Nintendo 3DS when it was released in 2014, but today we're going to be getting the platinum for LEGO Marvel Avengers, which came out in 2016 and was developed by Traveler's Tales. LEGO Marvel Avengers has 41 trophies with a 3 out of 10 difficulty and takes an estimated 40 hours to complete. The game starts off during the events of Age of Ultron and introduces you to the game's mechanics and has you blow shit up. Not much happened in this level, being as it's just the intro, but you get to play as all the main squad, so that was pretty neat. In the next section we get to play as Cap and Iron Man, and we invade the Hydra compound. I beat up some guys and attempt to solve the puzzles for this level, but I'm actually over the recommended age to play this game, so I struggle. People under the age of 12 must be gods at this game. At the end of the level, Iron Man gets his brain scrambled by Wanda, and we see all the Avengers crying in the fetal position, but Wanda lets him cook. Iron Man takes Loki's scepter, and we end the level with the first story trophy struck off the list. So the next level takes place at the Shield base, where you play as Nick Fury, and as usual for all the levels, we run around and do our puzzles, then we get a cutscene, and surprise surprise, Loki pops through the portal burdened with a glorious purpose. In this level you have to fight your way across the room until you get to Loki, and then you have to fight a load of his offspring, which begs the question, if you had a clone of yourself, would you sleep with it? Soon after, Loki is trying to make his escape, so we hop on the Lego machine turret, which is every grown man's dream, and we're in pursuit. Long story short, Loki escapes and Nick FaceTimes Maria Hill, and they try to figure out how to cover up this mess, but at least I got the trophy. Next up, we have Black Widow tied to a chair and this Russian guy petting his Lego cock. Unfortunately, we won't be able to stick around because Black Widow gets called to work, so we dispose of the Russians real quick and go find Bruce. Bruce comes home to Natasha calling him big guy, like at least buy him dinner first. Anyway, Bruce straight up kills a guy, and then they go on about some nerd stuff. After that, we get to see Iron Man, who is the second best Avenger, introduced for the first time, and do some boring ass puzzles. Finally, we're up to the best Avenger, Captain America, who is chilling in the gym practicing for his fight against Mike Tyson, which would make it two of the oldest people to have a boxing match, being as Mike's 57 and Cap's around 110 years old. Anyways, we finish the boxing area and then are thrown into one of the worst lit rooms I've ever seen, which made this level kinda annoying. Then we get to play the infamous train scene, where Bucky decides to bungee jump off a train without the rope. But my sadness is fixed quickly by getting the Rail Hydra trophy. So now that we recruited all the Avengers, we get put into the open world area, and I kid you not, this took me about 30 minutes to figure out how to get back to the main story after realizing all I had to do was follow the blue studs on the road. Horseshit! Now we're on the Shield Helicarrier, and we have to do puzzles once again, but I'm not going to leave in all the puzzles because that's just lame. Then we see Hawkeye doing some cool ninja shit, all to steal some crystal. After that, Loki decides to terrorize the locals, but my man, Stan Lee ain't taking shit from Loki. But luckily Cap saves the day, and once again we have a boss fight. After beating on Loki for a bit, he waves the white flag. As we're taking Loki in, Thor shows up and just yoinks our prisoner. So now we have to go through this whole thing of fighting the God of Thunder, but long story short, they all kiss and make up. Also got a trophy called Shakespeare in the Park. The next level starts as we're taking Loki to lock up, preceded by Nick Fury showing him how much of an alpha male he is. The rest of this area was beyond boring, and I don't even want to talk about it, so we'll skip to angry Captain America, who finds out what S.H.I.E.L.D. plans to do with the cube, which turns into an all-out argument. Meanwhile, Hawkeye is just casually executing an attack. A little while later, we play as Black Widow, running from an angry Hulk who gets saved by Thor, and we get a super duper cool button mashing event. The fight continues and Thor mistakes his hammer for my ex-wife and slaps the hell out of the Hulk, who also doesn't like the smell of her either. So now I'm gonna summarize this next section. Firstly, we get a mini Hawkeye boss fight, followed by the Hulk absolutely destroying Stan Lee. And lastly, you guessed it, more lame-ass puzzles. Then we see Thor fall for the old bait and switch, courtesy of Loki. But for real, who wouldn't want a nice glizzy? And finally, the level ends with Tony saving Cap with his pants and receiving the Helicarrier Havoc trophy. The following level begins with Coulson taking a permanent holiday and the start of the Avengers Initiative, an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people and see if they could become something more. But personally, I think it was just an idea to make me do more puzzles. At this point, I have no idea where I am, but what I do know is that Loki's back for another boss fight. Who would have thought? Then we play various Avengers and just run through some enemies and puzzles until Bruce reveals he's always angry. But I wonder what's causing all this anger and where it stems from. Maybe a traumatic event or a terrible ex-wife? Anyways, we get a trophy called Always Angry. Not long after, we get another called Avengers Assemble. Then we start the next level as Hulk and Thor riding on the back of one of those Chitauri alien looking things, which ends up crashing into a building, brutally killing everyone inside. A few hundred puzzles later, we see Iron Man fly through the portal, and then followed by the Earth's mightiest trophy. Continuing from the last level, Tony sinks the Chitauri's battleship and plummets down to Earth, only to be brought back to life by the Hulk's wet kiss. How romantic. Then a few cutscenes later, that would conclude the story of whatever movies it's from, because I forget, and that's where I thought I was done with the story. But little did I know, I still had to play another 6 hours. This level had you start off playing as these two old geezers in a Hydra base doing some nerd shit, so let's skip that. Afterwards, Tony and Bruce accidentally made Ultron, who was the big bad guy, but the Avengers can worry about that later, because they're throwing a party. After all the partying, Ultron finally makes an appearance and reveals he has a mission, peace in our time, so naturally he decides he wants to kill us all, but Thor just bongs him with his hammer and I get the trophy, no strings on me. With Ultron escaping the Avengers, he uses his newfound free time to watch some adorable cat videos in his secret lair. Then we head to Africa to find Ulysses Claw, who was stealing vibranium or something like that. 10,000 puzzles later, we get to the cutscene where Wanda does some funky mind tricks, which sends us back to a memory, but gets countered by Hawkeye, who sticks over the plunger. But Wanda would quickly have her revenge, as she would turn the Hulk into more of a raging maniac, which leads us into the next area where Tony pulls out the Hulkbuster and I get the trophy Anger Management. Next, we stop by Hawkeye's farm, which is puzzle hell, so let's fast forward past that. Then we were on a train, but that didn't last long. I don't know what happened, wasn't my fault. Afterwards was puzzle cock and bowl torture, followed by the end of the level, which was supposed to give me the Career Prospects trophy, but if you save the game and return to it later, then finish the rest of the level, you don't get the trophy. But things weren't looking so bad because Vision's here now. He's pretty cool, right? A little while later, we're in Sokovia. We rotate through playing all the Avengers. Also, nothing interesting happened here, so let's get to the good stuff. It was time for the Ultron boss fight. We beat up some minions, do some puzzles, and the fight climaxes into our heroes shooting Ultron with their hot beams, which results in the Hulk ending Ultron once and for all. And I also got the Ultron Undone trophy. Once I got the Ultron Undone trophy, I thought I was done with the story, but little did I know, I still had to play through 3 different story levels, separate from the main game, with Cap, Thor, and Iron Man, which unlocked the 3 trophies: Lack of Insight, Ready Aim Fire, and Lost in the Aether. Then I went and replayed this mission to get the Rise of Ultron trophy. Then it was finally time for the free roam and cleanup grind. I'm just going to go through these randomly and in no order. So the first trophy would be Born Yesterday, for playing as 2 Visions at the same time. The next trophy is for playing as Nick Fury and Quicksilver, called The Fast and the Furious. Get it? I would then recreate the iconic On Your Left scene. Afterwards, I viewed all the mini-kits for the perfect perfect pineapple trophy. Next, I created this thing I named Glorf. Unlocking the trophy, create a superhero. I then turned on all the red bricks for the trophy, going nowhere. After that, I drove Lola as Agent Coulson, which unlocks the trophy. A funny thing happened. This next trophy I didn't quite understand until I googled it, but you have to transform Lou Ferrigno into the Hulk, who was the actor that played him in the 80s, unlocking a startling metamorphosis. Our next trophy is for using a custom character equipped with Thor's hammer, rewarding you with the trophy Be Worthy. Next up, I stopped 10 random crimes in an effort to try clean up the streets, getting me the trophy You Asked For It. I also played as all the characters from a TV show you probably don't remember, The Defenders. I then popped 3 quick trophies, Place for dying as Coulson, A Magical Place for playing as Tony and Harley Keener, We're Connected, and finally for dying as Aldrich Killian, Beyond. We also made a Thor reference, well I think it's Thor, for playing as Fandral, Hogun, and Volstagg, which pops the Warriors 3 trophy, and just like the previous trophy, I used Moon Knight, Moon Dragon, and Moon Boy for a trophy called Over the Moon. I popped this trophy for visiting all hub locations in my private jet, which taxpayers pay for, called Globetrotter. I was then so close to the end, with only a few more challenges left, like playing as 4 more boring characters no one cares about for Young Avengers, and then doing the exact same thing with 5 other characters, unlocking Stiff Upper Lip. After that, I grew Ant-Man, Black Goliath, and Fin Fang Foom, which got me the trophy, Giant-Sized Marvel. I then played as every Iron Man variant for House Party Protocol, and speaking of Iron Man, I also transformed Stan Lee into the Hulkbuster for I Am Iron Stan. I also unlocked True Avenger, and finally, it was time for the last trophy for witnessing the 100% stud fountain in the Avengers Tower. I'll do it myself, and quickly followed by the Platinum Trophy.